Hello guys and welcome back to another update for news video, and I have to say we've been truly spoilt from yesterday's live stream with a load of extra information about gases and the blender given by Snutt and Mark. But first, let's cover the Unreal Engine 4.25 launch, which is currently on the experimental branch, and it is very experimental. If you play it, make sure to back up your saves, and if you can't get into the game on Steam, they've suggested verifying your game files and uninstalling any mods that you might have. If you're wondering what this update does, there are some optimization changes and a couple of quality of life patches. They've added a gamma slider in the options for those extra dark nights, and also DirectX 12 can be forced, but there are no plans for them to actively support it as it's just for testing purposes, so use at your peril. Anyway, while you're all here, update 4. Do note that I've taken all of this information from the live stream, which I will place a link to below in the description, but some of these things could be changed before release. Also, make sure to watch my breakdown of the gas video above, as these two videos are linked, and I must stress we were given a huge amount of information, so I'll try not to repeat myself. Firstly, let's talk about the new Wellsprings. It's been confirmed that these are extra nodes in the game in addition to the surface oil nodes we already have, and that these well springs have been scattered throughout the map, with oil springs most likely to be placed further away from other oil nodes, as they will have high concentrations of oil. This is to allow them to fill up all those empty spaces in the world. The Pressurizer will be unlocked in Tier 8 and require steel and oil parts for the wells. However, as earlier gases are added in-game, you can expect these build requirements to change and possibly come in earlier. Now, currently the Wellspring Pressurizer requires motors, steel beams, rubber and wire to build, and they believe it will be more expensive in terms of energy to run, which we'll talk about later. It was also mentioned that they've considered that the pressurizer on the Wellspring will attract mobs when used, but this is just a consideration, and that they don't want tower defense in game, so let's be honest, it probably won't happen. Mark also mentioned that they have a pretty cool animation on the pressurizer, but there won't be any gas leak explosions that actually affect your building. Currently though, the only gases that we have available is nitrogen, and when it comes to the gases, they seem pretty set on using the liquid system but without headlift requirements. However, they may use a reverse headlift system, such as using compressors like we speculated in the previous video, and they also mentioned that they will also be using the liquid buffers for now. However, as there may be a lot of gases and liquids for us to use in the long run, to save confusion between pipes, they may consider having separate gas-specific pipes later on. Gases can also be packaged in the packager, and the gas tanks will require aluminium or aluminum. Mark also mentioned that gases can be compressed to allow a higher concentration of resources in a package, and Mark then went on to mention that there may be other improved ways that they're releasing with Update 4, but he kind of left that carrot dangling for us, as I'm not quite sure what they meant, whether it was transporting units or something totally different. And when I asked about nitroxide gas for tractors or possibly rocket fuel, this was Mark's response.
Jay's mentioned nitric acid will be used for fuel. Is nitroxide coming for tractors or rocket fuel later down the line?
I haven't looked into that, but I will make a note.
Nice.
We can see if that's a possibility.
I mean, I'm loving the cheeky little grin. Let me have my nitroxide fuel for my tractors, please. Whilst covering the gases, they also mentioned the blender. Firstly, the blender has a big centrifuge, like we thought all along, and they also mentioned that bauxite won't be used in the blender. However, fused frames, cooling systems, and more notably, a new diluted fuel will be. Don't worry, the packager will still manage diluted packaged fuel, but there are going to be a lot of rebalances to tier 7, and this includes some alternate recipes replacing main recipes, such as the coal alternate for aluminium. Another thing they mentioned was that pure alternates for the time being will stay the same, for now at least. They also mentioned that with all the balances you can expect to have to rebalance your product ratios, and they also mentioned they're adding a few more alternate recipes. Once again, it was mentioned that batteries will have a unique use in game, but we're none the wiser as to what that is. And they also mentioned that power requirements are going to be ramped up for the blender and other buildings in tier 8, suggesting update 4 will give us more buildings to play around with other than the ones suggested already. Finishing off, they also mentioned that the programmable splitters will be changed, but they've not found a solution for them yet. I don't know if this means we'll be seeing them for update 4. And the last point, they are working on the in-game object limit currently. Now, we already knew this. They're optimizing the objects so that they can up the amount of building that we're able to do in-game. But that was everything of interest that I really picked up on in today's live stream. Still a pretty hefty Q&A section, so special thanks to both Snutt and Mark for organising that. If you did enjoy the coverage, then be sure to drop a thumbs up, and why not subscribe for more news updates. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and also thank you so much to all of our supporters for giving me the opportunity to create these videos. Most notably our Solar Eclipse Patreons, The Calamity, Bo Papa and Cerebral Tag, as well as our Lunars, Matt Lippard, Chris McCabe and Lord of July, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, James Irwin. Anyway guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and as always, ciao for now.